Welcome to Elevating Empowering Conversations, hosted by I Declare the Word, a magazine that I created to inspire, to encourage, to motivate the lives of others. Also includes daily declarations and life quotes. And I would like to tell you about our platform, but first, before I do that, I would like to introduce the ladies who are on tonight. First, let's start with Tyrus Atkins.
Hello.
Annette McGee.
Hi.
And Rochelle Williams.
Hello.
Thank you, ladies, for joining in. I really appreciate it. Now, I just wanted to tell you how excited I am about this new platform, Elevating Empowering Conversations. This is to encourage people to see life situations from multiple viewpoints and being open-minded and having a conversation with a desire to learn, deepen your understanding, and strengthen to become a better version of you. So today, well, before I even get started with the topic, I notice now that we're in 2022, so many different things everyone is encountering. We talk about grief for one thing. So many people have lost loved ones, the pandemic, as far as whether to wear a mask or not, what's going on with the education system, the crime rate in different cities. There's so many different situations that we have to deal with. And we never know what we are going to really encounter on a daily basis. So I was reflecting back to 2021. And as I was reflecting back, I was thinking about what challenge did I face during that time, and I can compare to what is going on now. And one of the challenges that I faced during that time was a loss of income. Also, during that time, my husband had a medical situation going on, and I was in the process of moving. That created so much stress because I didn't know what to do because there were so many things that was going on at the same time. So with all these different things going on, I said to myself, I said, Lord, what do I do? So with that being said, it just put a big heavy weight on me because of the fact that I had to strategize and figure out with his help what to do. So that became a burden and, like I said, a stressor. So ladies, can you identify with that as far as something that you encountered in 2021?
Well, for me, one of my biggest challenges was, being in a hospital, during the pandemic. I know working in a hospital, you're going to see, deaths. But during the pandemic, we wasn't expecting to see that many deaths. So with that being said, getting up every morning, going to work, worried about whether you're going to catch COVID, just looking at the faces of the people that's in those hospital beds, fighting for their lives, wondering, are they going to make it out? Am I going to be put on a ventilator? Family members cannot see their loved ones. Patients passing away, we bagging them up, putting them in body bags. And this was an everyday routine. So that was very challenging for me.
Wow, that sounds very challenging. I don't know. Body bags, I would have quit.
Yeah.
That sounds real tough.
And how did it affect you mentally?
Basically, I had to pray every morning and ask God to give me the strength every day to go back and start all over again. And not only that, I end up getting sick, catching COVID myself. But thank God I'm on the other side. I'm still here. But it was challenging for all of us, the entire hospital.
So, your coworkers, did you all band together, in prayer? How did you all handle it?
We were a team. We were a team. We stuck together. We helped each other as much as we can. We had a routine where we would go in at, 2 and 3 at a time. I mean, we did good as a team, as a unit. We stuck together. We helped each other. It was not one person dealing with it. It was, the nurses, doctors, housekeepers, everybody. We was just a team. If one person went in the room, we'll keep somebody else from going in the room. Somebody may hand you something to give. So, I mean, we worked together as a team during that time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it probably made you closer too.
Yeah.
You form a different type of bond because of what was taking place during that situation.
Mhm. Yeah, your situation sounds challenging too. Losing a position and moving at the same time. Wow. Not to mention your husband having to have a procedure. That is a lot all at once. Moving in and of itself is a challenge. Whew. That was a
Yes,
lot.
ma'am, it was, so I'm not gonna say it was easy because it wasn't, during that time. I can honestly say that.
Well, how did you go about, getting through it? How did you get through it? I'm thinking about me. I probably would have been like, oh Lord, it is no way in the world I can get a house right now because I just lost my position. So I'm looking at, I don't have the income that's coming in every week or every 2 weeks, like I had been having. And so how did you, handle it?
I had to pray. I really did. I had to pray and I had to focus because I was in a situation. What else can I do? It was either I was going to sink or swim. And I just had to pray and just ask for direction and just stay focused on God.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if I could share my challenge, some years ago, I was diagnosed with diabetes, and I knew that I had to, get my life together with this diabetes. Well, I was doing fine, and then in 21, I began having issues. I had been dealing with a lot of stress. My mother had passed. My aunt passed, and I was just really, really, really going through a lot. And literally, I would be in here and I just could not move from one side of the room to the next because I had no energy. And so I decided to go to the doctor because I knew something was going on. And when I got to the doctor and he checked me and checked my blood sugar, he said, you just made it. He said, because your blood sugar is over 600. And he said, you could have gone into a diabetic coma. So he literally had to give me insulin to bring my blood sugar down. And another thing about that, you know, diabetes can go into kidney disease. Well, kidney disease runs in my family, and so my grandmother had kidney disease, and then my mother had kidney disease. And I knew right then, oh no, I'm not going to be going through this because I knew I didn't want kidney disease. And I said, you know what? I shall not die but live and declare the works of the Lord. And I decided I'm going to do something different. So I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, what is it that I need to do? Can you show me what to do? And the Lord began showing me different recipes. He showed me, how to put meats and the starches and the vegetables together. And then I began doing these exercise challenges because a lot of people were doing a lot of challenges. And so I would team up with different people and do these different exercise challenges. And that worked. My blood sugar began to decrease. I went back to the doctor. He said, your blood sugar levels are really good. You have excellent control of your blood sugar. And I was just excited, because me listening to God after he showed me what to do, me listening to him, doing the exercise, eating the right foods, helped out tremendously. Now, I'm not saying that I'm perfect with not with eating the right foods all the time, because I do love sweets. Okay. And I can't help it. I do love sweets, but I eat them at moderation and I know what to do. And then what happened was when I went to the nutritionist there at the doctor's office, she shared with me that if you eat your food, to eat your dessert immediately after. So if I was going to have a bowl of ice cream, I would eat my food, my vegetable, my starch, my meat, and then immediately afterwards, I eat my ice cream. So it won't spike your blood sugar up. So that helped tremendously too, because I knew if I did that, then I didn't have to worry about my blood sugar spiking up that much. And it would, and of course it's going to go up a little because you've eaten, but it's not like it's outrageous when you constantly eating your sweets. But that's a challenge that I went through. And so, I'm grateful that things are different. I know what to do. God has shown me what to do. And I'm just going to continue to do what I have to do and share it with others.
Was you nervous though when you said the levels was what, at 600, you said?
Yes, yes.
Didn't that scare you a little bit?
It scared me a lot because I didn't think 600 was a problem. But I really, I found out that yes, it really is a problem, especially when he said to me, you could have gone into a diabetic coma. I know people who've gone into diabetic comas. Matter of fact, I know of a person now who has been in it for years and have not come out. And so I knew, oh no, that I can't let that happen. And another thing about the diabetes, you lose things. You could lose your eyesight, you can lose your limbs. I'm a dance minister. I need my limbs to be able to minister and dance,
Right.
So I had, all of those things I had to take into consideration. Like, wait a minute, Tyrus, you get it together. Your body belongs to God. Your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So you do what you have to do with the help of the Holy Ghost to get your body together.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. I mean, that sounds like a life or death situation where you had to make changes, and it's a blessing that you did that, made the changes, because I think some people don't, and they end up in a lot of trouble. That's a blessing that you were, sought answers, sought getting the correct things, and then put them into action. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That's something, it just gives you something to think about. All of us, had different situations that we had to face, which was difficult, and when you reflect back, it's like, wow, I got through it.
Yeah. Yeah, my challenge is a little different. I was in a challenge where I had begun a new relationship, and I was challenged just keeping the faith from being ghosted. I started dating a guy I've been knowing since elementary school, and we had been in contact off and on through the years, but never on the level of starting a relationship. And so we did back in 2021, we started communicating mostly by phone and by text because he lives 2.5 hours away. So then, he came to visit about 3 times. He came to my city, and then he invited me to come and visit with him. So I went. Circumstances where he lived was going to be comfortable because his daughter and grandson was going to be there. So I went, and we had a pretty good weekend. At least I thought it was a pretty good weekend. And when I got back home, he stopped calling. He may have texted me a couple of times and maybe called me once, and then he just went silent. So to my understanding, that's called being ghosted.
Yeah.
So before I had started talking with him, I had really prayed, my past experiences, I felt like, I had kissed enough frogs and I was ready for a prince. So I'm saying, Lord, is this a frog or a prince? Because I don't want to be, open myself up to a relationship if this isn't the right person to do that with. And I felt that I had the confirmation to go forward. So when everything was going good and smooth, I was happy, confident, thankful, finally, a prince, not a frog. And then when I was ghosted, it was confusing. It was very painful. I was really hurt, and I just really didn't know what to do, but pray. And I asked the Lord, what's going on here? Because I know when I was there, our time together was great. And I wouldn't just think that that's how I felt. He felt that way too. So it was strange. It was strange, but that was a tough challenge. Just believing that, I was confirmed to talk with him and everything was good. And so I just said, well, Lord, you started this. You're going to have to tell me what else to do now, because I just, I don't know. That was way beyond my comfort zone.
And
Yeah.
Annette, I can see that being challenging, especially us as women. When it comes to relationships, we get in relationships and we love hard, especially if it's somebody we want to be with. And so when things like that take place and you already had your hopes up thinking that, y'all were okay because y'all spent time together. And when you left, everything was okay. But then all of a sudden, like you said, he got silent. You didn't hear from him. So of course your mind got to wondering and you like, what's going on? I just left this man. So
Yes.
that could be challenging.
Yes,
I
it was. It was
Yeah.
challenging. I was like, woo, this is crazy. It's been a
Yeah.
while since
Especially-
I've been in a relationship. So like, is
Yeah.
this how people do things these days? What's
Right.
going on?
Especially the terminology of the ghosting,
Mhm.
all these different, new meanings that they come up with, a relationship anyhow can be much work involved. Then for something like that to happen, yes, I think it just take you through a mental challenge as well.
Yes.
Mental,
Yes.
so yeah,
Yes.
I tell you, so when we think about it, then the next question would be, what lesson did we learn from what we encountered in 2021? What lesson can you honestly say that you learned, ladies?
I think I basically already answered mine. I learned that I had to really pay attention to my body and the things I was putting in it, not stressing as much, to constantly stay at peace, as much as possible, and I did that by, of course, reading the word and praying and giving God glory, worship and praise. And from there, I learned that once I began to do that, then I didn't deal with a lot of stress. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So basically you had to keep up the lesson. You had to change your lifestyle of eating.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay.
Yes, that's it.
You had to make some changes.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I learned that don't take life for granted.
Mm,
I also learned that just because you don't see a situation doesn't mean a situation is not happening. And you just have to be very careful of complaining because there's people worse off than you.
mm. Wow.
That's a great takeaway.
Powerful
That-
lesson.
yes. And that's something that will be with you for the rest of your life.
Hmm.
so that also shows a bit of humility, would you say?
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my lesson, I was being taught how to be still and wait. If God said it was okay, he meant that. So about 3 weeks later, when he texted me to say, I know I owe you an explanation for my actions. And once I get everything figured out in my head, I'll call and explain to you what's going on. And that was a big relief to hear from him. And then I knew then everything was okay and that I was right in moving forward with him. So that gave me a lot of peace. But from that point on, I'm being still, I'm moving with caution, I'm praying, and just kind of letting the Lord lead our actions, not, how I usually be. Normally I just go do all I want to do, but now I'm not doing that at all. So I learned how to be still, how to pray and wait and trust God and believe that if he's in a situation, things will work out. So that gave me a lot of peace, eliminated a lot of stress. I try not to worry, I try not to, get all, antsy or anxious, and just stay prayerful and take my time.
Now, would you say that it was kind of hard far as the waiting part? Because even though God may tell us to do things, there's that little part of us who want to do things the way we want to do them.
Yes,
So would you say the
absolutely.
waiting was a little bit hard?
Yes, it was. It's still hard to this day in any other circumstance, not just that. But yes, the waiting is hard. But I did focus my mind to say, I'm not going to try to help God out. I'm not going to get anxious. I'm not going to make assumptions. I'm just going to pray and let this happen in the time that it should. Now, that was the biggest lesson I learned, how to just be patient and let it happen as it should. That was the big part of it.
Wow. Well, I can honestly say the lesson that I learned first, I had to trust God. But besides trusting God, there was things that I needed to do. I had to adjust, learn to be flexible, another way of spending, put myself on a budget. So there was things that I needed to do in order for me to be able to, be successful. So one of the biggest lessons I learned was also too, that I had to remember where my source came from. It wasn't the job. And sometimes we can have a job as an idol or other little things. I was a workaholic. So I had to put things in perspective and look at it from a different view. And that was, okay, Liz, you no longer have this job. We can sit here and talk about it, but what are you going to do? So I had to encourage myself along with trusting God, but also be able and be willing to make the necessary changes and not complain. I learned how to be more humble. And one lesson I learned, I was able to work with less than more. And I'm saying to myself, really? I said, you took me through all this just to show me this, Lord? Okay. Couldn't we have went another way? But yes. So I honestly can say that, there was things that I had to do. So the flexibility, being able to spend differently, appreciate what I have, because sometimes we get caught up in complaining, well, I don't have this, I don't have that. But I realized I had nothing to complain about, if truth be told. So I really had to focus on having more of a Thanksgiving attitude. And that helped me out a lot. It did.
Wow. Yeah. So did you put yourself on a budget?
I did. I did put myself on a budget. Now yes, I put myself on a budget because I realized, seeing that we was going from 2 incomes to 1 income, I had to spend a little bit differently. and it was discipline, but I still was able to do some of the things that I did before. And I think that's the funny part about it. I'm saying to myself, really, I'm up here going in a little tizzy, but yes. So put myself on a budget and just realizing work with what I do have. If I can't do it, I just can't do it. Bottom line, it's not like I'm starving. It's not like I have to eat pork and beans and hot dogs every day. And I don't have nothing against it, but I'm just saying I wasn't in a position where I had to just eat certain foods. I still was able to do some of the things I wanted to do. So I was thankful for that.
That's good. That's good.
So
Me
when we think
personally,
about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
me personally, I think that's very powerful. I mean, to know that, like you said, you lost your job, you got a new home, you had, difficulty with your husband, but you're not missing a beat. It's almost like you're still doing everything that you was doing when you had a job.
And that's so true. And then I had to realize the fact that God knew this anyhow. He knew that I was going to lose this job. I didn't know, but he knew. So with him knowing, I said to myself, okay, since you know this, then that means you're going to help me out, right? You're not going to leave me hanging, right, Lord? All right. We still good now? So,
Yeah.
So you start having these little conversations, and I'm good for doing that, so yes. So that lesson learned. And now we're going to go to the next question, which is the last question after learning about the challenge, or should I say the challenge that you had to face in 2021, the lesson that you did learn. Now that we're currently in 2022, going into the 6th month of June, how are you able to transition and apply what you learned in 2021 into 2022?
Well, for me, I would say respect all, love all, be kind toward one another, and pray for everybody.
That's a good transition and something that you can apply.
For me, don't jump to conclusions. I'm not jumping to conclusions and things that I find difficult this year, different things that have come about. I kind of like am putting the same practice, praying, waiting, not jumping to conclusions, not assuming, not, making up something in my head and taking me to some crazy place, but just trusting that, if you pray, the Lord will answer. He'll give you some answers. He may do it through family or a friend or something. You don't always have to just, try to figure things out in your life. You can pray and wait for God to answer, to lead and guide you. So I'm doing that this year with all circumstances because God has shown himself so faithful in the relationship. When my friend did call me and explain everything, we continued on getting to know each other. He apologized and, that just let me know that God is faithful and what he says he'll do, he'll do. So that's how I'm applying for now on. Trusting God, praying and waiting for the answer.
Okay. Well, that's what we got to do. Definitely.
Yes. I'll say for me, take care of yourself. We only have one life to live, and we have to live that life now. And I know for me, I'm getting up in age, so I definitely have to make sure that I'm taking care of myself. And once I do that, I know that, God will take care of me. So that's what I say. Take care of yourself. Take care of your body. Take care of your mind. Take care of your spirit. Let the Holy Ghost lead and guide you. So that's what I want to share.
Well, and everything, that's a good way of looking at it, because when I think about the lesson, how I'm transitioning to apply in 2022 is, number one, I have to trust God. I have to continue with the budgeting, continue with the discipline of knowing how much to spend and how much I cannot spend. Also, to being able to realize complaining, I don't need to complain. I need to have a Thanksgiving attitude. So I try to apply that currently. And the reason why I wanted to ask the question, because sometimes when we reflect back, it'll help us to approach with what we're dealing with now, currently. Because this year, even though we're in 2022, people are still facing different situations. And when I thought about it, that was difficult. So if I was able to get through that, I should be able to use some of the steps to help me get through whatever I may encounter in 2022.
Mhm.
And I still have that Thanksgiving attitude. I still try not to complain about things, because your focus also will, help you to be able to, look at the reality of, what you did learn, how you're going to apply it. And so, ladies, what I would like for you to do is just give a brief takeaway that you would want to leave with the listeners out there as far as what you encounter.
Don't be hasty in making decisions. Give yourself some time to think it out, ask trusted friends, or pray about it.
Okay.
Be intentional about everything that you do.
Mm-hmm.
I would say live life with a purpose and trust God.
All right, that sounds good, and I just say trust God and have a Thanksgiving attitude. Be thankful for even the small things, just be thankful. Well, ladies, it's about time for us to say goodbye, good night. I really enjoyed you guys tuning in and being part of this platform. I'm excited for when we'll be able to come back again. So I want to tell everyone, stay tuned, because we will be back. And just to give you a little snippet, the next topic that we will discuss, we will talk about grief, because that is something that everyone is experiencing. So we want to say, have a great evening, have a great day, have a great morning, and we will see you again. Good night.